Yes, hello, today, look, Giratina EX is still broken. And if you thought this deck was going away, nah, the new meta tried, it really did. But Giratina EX and Darkrai EX said, nah, I'd win. Let's get real. Anyone saying this isn't a tier 1 deck is just not looking at the actual data from Limitless. This thing's clocking at around 50+% win rate, and that's with Rare Candy running around. Oricorio being annoying, and Decidueye trying to cosplay as a problem. This deck is still dominating, and I'm gonna show you why. If you want a deck that attaches energy for free, deals heavy damage nearly every turn, powers itself up without babysitting, and only needs like 4 Pokemon to function, this is your deck. Here's the game plan. Memorize this and you're instantly better than 70% of the ladder. 1. Start with Giratina or Darkrai in the active zone. Darkrai is preferred, but it's also matchup dependent. 2. Bench Giratina ASAP. 3. Attach Dark Energy to Darkrai every turn for slow pain. 4. Use Giratina's ability last to attach 1 Psychic Energy because it kinda ends your turn. 5. Repeat until Giratina has at least 3 Psychic Energy attached. 6. Then manually attach a Dark Energy to Giratina and start throwing hands. Alternatively, if you're feeling extra spicy, attach a 4th Psychic Energy onto it because you have the time. And once both Giratina and Darkrai are online, your opponent either misplays out of panic or gets red carded into crying. The board goal looks like this: 2 Giratina EX and 2 Darkrai EX. Bonus points if Giant Cape is on Giratina. This setup makes your Pokemon tankier than your opponent's will to live. Let's talk pros and cons real quick. Free Psychic Energy every turn from Giratina EX. Combo damage with Red and Giratina plus Darkrai is basically a delete button. Self-sufficient setup, no rare candy, no evolutions, just vibes. And small Pokemon count means faster consistency. But like all decks, this deck has its weaknesses. Weak to bench swaps. If you see Sabrina, you may have to cry. Miss Giratina on turn 1, you're in for a sluggish game. And this deck heavily relies on Red Card or Mars to break hands in bad matchups. So you might be wondering, Sir PP, how do I play this Magnificante deck? Well, I got you. Here's a deck list to get you started. Let's break it down. You're gonna need 2 Giratina EX because it's a Giratina Darkrai EX deck. I don't know if I have to say that, but here we are. You're gonna need 2 Darkrai EX, same as the last point. You're gonna need 2 Pot of Greed. You're gonna need 1 Red, because you're the villain. You're just an absolute villain. You need 1 Big Daddy Cyrus. Sometimes you need to steal your opponent's mons back and then kill them with a ping. You're gonna need 1 Mars, because you hate hands. You're gonna need 1 Leaf, and she's still just Leaf. You're gonna need 1 baby girl Sabrina. You're gonna need 1 Pokemon Center Lady, aka Nurse Joy. You're gonna need 2 Pokeball because searching is OP. You're gonna need 2 Potione because healing is OP. You're gonna need 1 red card because screw hands. You're gonna need 2 Rocky Helmet because breakpoints matter. You're gonna need 1 Giant Cape because apparently the cape is no longer as relevante as it used to be. Optionally, if you're tired of praying that red shows up at the right time, swap 1 red for 1 Mars and laugh as your opponent's hands melt. A well-timed Mars doesn't just slow your opponent, it wins games. This variant performs better in mirror matches, beats Charizard and other grindy decks more reliably, and doesn't completely die going second. Sure, you lose a little damage output, but hand control? That's the real win con. Of course, it does trade its matchups with other matchups, so just be careful about that. Alright, you're ready to build the deck. Now it's hunting season. Here's where to crack packs like your name is the IRS, and these cards owe taxes. Giratina EX, Red, and Pokemon Center Lady are all hanging out in Shining Revelry, which is not the newest pack anymore, but still hotter than your opponent's win rate. You'll be seeing a lot of this one. Darkrai EX and Giant Cape, these two are lurking in Space-Time Smackdown Dialga. It's dark, it's dangerous, and somehow you keep on pulling Bronzor, but hang in there. You got this. Rocky Helmet, Cyrus, and Mars are in Space-Time Smackdown Palkia. Everything in here is either spiky, bossy, or emotionally repressive, just like your ex. Baby girl Sabrina, yep, she's hiding in Genetic Apex Charizard like she's the final boss of an escape room. Leaf is hanging out in Mythical Island, sipping herbal tea and judging you for not teching her sooner. And Professor's Research, Potione, Red Card, and Pokeball are all promos. You get them for doing almost anything. Blink twice and you'll own 12 Pokeballs. And as for Triumphant Light, absolutely not. That pack is a prank. If it was a restaurant, the health inspector would have shut it down 6 metas ago. So, my final thoughts. It's still a menace. The counters are here. Oricorio, Meowscarada, Charizard, Decidueye, and yet, here we are. Still dominating, still winning, still tier 1. If you're not playing this deck, you're not trying to win. It's that simple. With that being said, that's the Widgio. If you enjoyed this deck profile, you can drop a like. You could subscribe, and it would be nice to let me know in the comments what deck you'd want to see next. Thank you guys so much for watching. Have yourselves a salty day, and I will see you in the next Widgeo.